so thrilled you are here. Will you please remain standing for the singing of the national anthem, sung by Jack McFarling, Senior Computer Science and Music General Major from Bridgeton, Missouri.
The dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Yes, welcome to the Truman State University Fall 2020 Commencement Ceremony. You know, a primary factor in our decision to return to the campus this fall is the importance of providing impactful and transformative curricular and co-curricular experiences that are the hallmark of a Truman education. In-person commencement is absolutely one of these impactful experiences, and I could not be more excited that we are here. Being here today shows that no one should ever count out or underestimate a bulldog. A bulldog is a powerhouse that is courageous and tenacious and does not quit. Regardless of what the world has thrown at you, you have become a Truman graduate, and that shows you are a true bulldog. So, this commencement ceremony looks a bit different. In a way, it's more powerful because we are here together despite all the challenges we've had to face. Now, you won't be able to hear your family and loved ones' applause as you walk across the stage, but your Bulldog family is equally as proud of you, and we are so happy to show it. So I ask, as each graduate walks across the stage, let's be to celebrate each and every one of you with a round of applause. All of you have certainly earned it. Each person who is processed into the arena with me today has an important role at the university and plays a special role in today's ceremony. As I introduce the platform party, I request they stand and be recognized. I ask that you please hold your applause until all are standing. Dr. Janet Gooch, Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost. Dr. Scott Alberts, Grand Marshal and Professor of Statistics. Dr. Jay Self, Reader and Professor of Communication. Rachel Jacobs, student speaker and a graduate today, and Dr. Jeremy Mapp, our commencement speaker. Truman is most fortunate to have an enormously supportive Board of Governors that works with the university to ensure that we provide the very best education for our students. On behalf of the Board of Governors, I extend greetings and congratulations to today's graduates. The member of the board extend their very best wishes to each of you and to your families, and thank you for your unique contributions to the Truman community. And they wish you every success in the years ahead. It is now my great honor and joy that I introduce our commencement speaker, Dr. Jeremy Mapp. For each commencement ceremony, we ask our academic deans and schools to provide nominations for individuals to serve as our speaker. Jeremy was identified as a truly impressive two-time Truman alumnus, and we're so absolutely thrilled to welcome him back home today. Jeremy, who is active in residence life and multicultural affairs, earned a Bachelor of Science degree in psychology and a Master of Arts degree in elementary education from Truman, along with an EDD in educational leadership from Maryville University. He started his career with 6 years of service as an elementary teacher at Maplewood Richmond Heights School District, located in St. Louis County. While there, he and his wife, Rachel Richardson Mapp, a 2010 alumna of Truman, served as house parents at Joe's Place, a nationally acclaimed program through the Maplewood Richmond Heights School District that provides a supportive family environment to homeless teenage boys. From 2014 to 2018, the Mapps lived on site, managed the property, and through heartfelt compassion for lifting up the youth of their community, helped guide 6 teenage boys to becoming self-sufficient high school graduates. In 2018, Jeremy assumed the role of assistant principal at Kaser Elementary School, where he is known for his great hugs and dance skills. An exemplary Truman alum, Jeremy is a strong role model for students, staff, friends, and family. He is focused on building relationships, nurturing and encouraging the potential of all those he encounters, and embracing everyone for their unique qualities and contributions. So graduates, without further ado, please join me in welcoming home our very own Dr. Jeremy Mapp.
Well, good morning. Thank you to Dr. Thomas. And I'd like to take a minute to acknowledge some other important people who are responsible for making this gathering today possible. Mrs. Hall and Mrs. Hill in the President's office, thank you for helping to take care of me during my time here back in Kirksville. It's good to be back in this town. It's good to be back at this university. To Provost Gooch for your original invitation to allow me to come back, I thank you. And I can finally see that you weren't joking. You wanted me to come and you wanted me to. When you said it, I wondered, is it, am I? And that was the case. And so here we go. So, to members of the Board of Governors, thank you for inviting me back to Kirksville for Truman's final commencement of this year, 2020. I'll be honest, at this point, I'm not sure if I should be scared. What a year this has been. This summer, I had a conversation with one of my roommates from my freshman year here at Truman. We lived in Ryle Hall. I was in a quad, that means 4 college boys who shared a bathroom, a single. And so this friend of mine, he lives and is from Vietnam. He was calling, So he was calling to check on me. He'd seen our nation's response to COVID-19. He'd heard about the murder of George Floyd, which led to a nationwide reckoning with race, as I've heard it put. He had concern for his friend, who he hadn't seen or talked to in nearly 10 years. And from all the way around the world, he decided it was important to check on me. These are the types of connections that I hope each of you has been able to make in your time here at Truman. On a separate note, Truman State in Ryle Hall is where I met my wife you heard about, Rachel Richardson, who is now Rachel Mapp. I don't expect you all to leave here with that type of connection with someone, but I do hope that you've had some kind of connection similar to the one that I had with my roommate at the very least. It's a special place. It brings together its students in a special way. I'd like to acknowledge something, and then I'm going to do this in a way that I learned this summer. I'm a assistant principal of a K-5 building, and so one of my 4th grade teachers started with what we call a land acknowledgement. And so this land that we stand upon and we sit upon is not ours or not originally something that was what we would call American territory. And so I want to acknowledge the Kickapoo, the Sauk, and the Masaki people who are the original owners of this land, and pay our respects to our elders in the past, of the present, and of the future. This summer, I also had the privilege of attending the Leadership and Racism Institute hosted by Educational Equity Consultants. And one of the most important things that I took away from that experience, I wear on my wrist every day, right here next to my watch, as a reminder. It says Ubuntu. I am a person through other people. My humanity is tied to yours. In short, I am because we are. Graduates, your success is due in part to the parents, the grandparents, the friends, and the loved ones who are watching you virtually today. To all of you that are watching, on behalf of the graduates of the class of 2020, I say thank you, and I say welcome. Additionally, watching me speak today, there are other people who need to hear a thank you. That is my family and the people who have helped me along my journey. I'm a product of the Mapp and the Miller family. I married into the Richardson and the Harris family. I'm a product of the Normandy and Pattonville school districts. I'm a product of this wonderful Truman State University. Yes, I once sat where you are today. 10 years ago, to be exact, I sat for the first time. And so I know what it's like to have spent time in these residence halls. I worked in the residence halls as well. I spent time in Multicultural Affairs at the time, which is now the Center for Diversity and Inclusion. And I worked alongside many people and many organizations to support not only the work of our university, but of all of our students. And I'm glad and grateful for that opportunity to have been here at this university. I'm a product of Maryville University. I'm a product of the Clayton, Maplewood, Richmond Heights, and Kirkwood school districts, including my current home at Kaiser Elementary School. I would not be where I am today without any of these entities, and to all of those people who serve in those different places in the times that I was there, I tell you, thank you. I'm going to address three things with you all today. I want to talk about your why. I want to talk about your power, and I want to talk about your bias. Hopefully, your understanding of these things can help you and your fellow graduates to work towards making this world a better place. As you prepare to start the next phase of your life, I encourage you to remember to always start with why. There's a YouTube video of a comedian by the name of Michael Jr., and he's doing this show where he's just kind of, he's a comedian. He's doing it back and forth with his audience. And so he has this gentleman in the audience start singing Amazing Grace. And I in my time here at Truman, I was a part of Unique Ensemble Gospel Choir. And so I sang here. And so I this time, no, I'm joking. I was going to say I was going to have them come out and I was going to sing. I'm not going to do that. But he sang Amazing Grace. And so as I get back on topic here, he's actually somehow chooses this guy who is a music teacher. And so he has the ability to sing Amazing Grace pretty well. So this guy sings Amazing Grace 2 times. Michael Jr. explains at the end of both times that he understood what he was singing. Amazing Grace is a familiar song. He's a music teacher. This is old hat for him. But the second time that he asked him to sing Amazing Grace, he prompted him and he said this. He said, this time I want you to sing it like your uncle just got out of jail, you got shot when you was a kid, sing the hood version is how he put it. And so he sang from his soul. He sang with his why in mind. The audience erupted with support because he had been given that why. And when he knew and he spoke and sang in that why, he had a better understanding of his purpose. And so I'll tell you, when you know why he was singing for that purpose, his what of singing had a greater impact upon the audience, upon everyone who heard him sing. So when you know your why, you're able to walk in your purpose. Start with Why and Strengths Finders were two of the very first books that I read as part of my doctoral studies. Strengths Finders includes an assessment you take to find out your top 5 strengths. My strengths tied greatly into my why. I'm a hugely people-oriented person, and it shows in my top 5 strengths. This is why I know that my what of being an educator is the right thing for me. I encourage you to pursue the right thing for you. Understanding completely your why so it can adequately inform your what. My why was evident in my time here at Truman. I was involved in residence life as a student advisor, a community coordinator, and eventually a hall director. And I was involved with multicultural affairs at the time, again, now Center for Diversity and Inclusion, including, again, singing with the Unique Ensemble Gospel Choir. All those things I did because I knew my long-term goal was to work with people. I had and to have an impact on the world beyond myself. A couple of my favorite what's on this campus were the big event and the MLK Challenge. Both of these events were committed to supporting our local community, and that's what I know is my why. My what was to allow my liberal arts education to have an impact beyond myself and beyond my family. There's a quote on the north end of the quad on the other end of campus, and it says, "To enter to grow in wisdom, depart, better to serve thy country and thy kind." No matter what your why is, my hope is that you too will leave this university with an intentional purpose to better serve your country and humankind. You're going to hear me say this word a few times throughout, and I just ask that you reflect on it. Ubuntu. Again, it's simply I am because we are. Another thing I remember about my time here at Truman was a psychology course that I took with Dr. Tigner. It was called Learning and Memory. An assignment in this course was to memorize a portion of a speech. And so I chose a speech that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave in April of 1968. That was what? That was the what that I was assigned. I chose this speech that he'd given to the sanitation workers in Memphis, Tennessee, which is my mother's hometown, because of why he gave that speech. One of my favorite phrases of the speech is when he explained why he was giving this very speech. He explained that the sanitation workers were being treated unfairly, and he'd been asked to stop by on his journey across the country to help them to get fair treatment. He then presented the question that he wrestled with internally. If I stop to help these individuals, what will happen to me? In saying that, I mean, if this turmoil is happening in this city, if there's unrest, what's going to happen to me if I go there? And so then he reversed the question, and he said, if I do not stop to help these individuals, what will happen to them? Sometimes we have to reverse the question. We have to turn our we have to ask what could happen to someone else. Our why can often be identified because of the impact that it does have on someone else, more than the impact that it has on us. Ubuntu. I'd like to switch gears and talk about something many of you will be familiar with, but hopefully I can bring some new context to it. That's the concept of power. I'm sure many people think of power as something that can be dangerous or something that is necessary in order to create a hierarchy. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. again describes power as the ability to achieve purpose and affect change. In Brene Brown's podcast, Unlocking Us, she discusses this concept of power. Power can be thought of in 4 ways: power with, power to, power within, and power over. Power with focuses on shared power. I like to think that my leadership style is from a power with standpoint. I like to work with and alongside my team, providing direction and making decisions with them. A common powerful idea that sticks out to me in relation to this is the idea of servant leadership. The idea of empowering others as opposed to keeping the power. My principal and I always talk about making sure that others understand some of the major things that we do day in and day out, so that our building can run itself even if we are not there. I encourage you, as you prepare for your next phases, to make sure that people around you can have the power that they need to lead even without you. Power, too, is rooted in the power to make a difference. This power seems creative to me, and I don't always think of myself as a creative person. So with that being said, I will say that there needs to be some leaders in the world who have a power to mentality. Power within focuses on self-worth. This is necessary for all of us to have at some point in order to be successful. A person who leads from this place, though, is able to motivate others in a very special and important way. Finally, power over focuses on control. This can be a dangerous use of power. However, there are times that it is necessary. So I would say while there may be people who lead with the power over approach, it should be monitored closely, because Ubuntu. To be with others, we must work together, not over one another at a constant rate. Finally, I want to address another elephant in the world that we don't often take the time to think about and talk about, and that is the concept of bias. Most of us don't want to address it or to call it as it is. I'll tell you that it exists, and I'll tell you that we have to own it. We have preconceived notions not only when we see another person, we have them when we hear another person's story, when we hear about another person's actions, when we watch a video of someone, we have bias. It is recognition of that bias and a valiant effort to not let it lead to you treating people differently, owning that it impacts your actions. Brene Brown has a phrase that I love, which is that I'm not here to be right, I'm here to get it right. This rings true, really true to me in terms of bias. Very few people are in the right place when it comes to bias. The key isn't to be in the right place. The key is to be working towards and eventually getting to the right place. You belong here. At this graduation, at this time, and yes, even in this pandemic. You have and can continue on. You can do whatever it takes to be successful in this next phase of your life. I hope you will surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. Don't confuse academic credentials with good judgment. They're not the same. Ubuntu. There are multiple perspectives to every situation. You won't always be able to see things from another perspective. However, you can give value to them by honoring them and knowing that they exist. There are a couple phrases that I feel must be conveyed to you before I leave this podium today. One of them is from former First Lady Michelle Obama, and it is that treating people right will never fail you. And in that same vein, I want you to remember something that I learned from my first principal, who would always tell our students, and I think it applies to staff, I think it applies to all adults in general, and that is to do the right thing, even when no one is watching. It's pretty simple to do the easy things. It can be hard sometimes to do the right thing. I encourage you to do the hard things sometimes, because it matters. As the newest Truman graduates, I want to leave you all with this, because I know your potential. Don't go where the trail leads. Go instead where there's no trail and leave a path. Ubuntu. Thank you and congratulations.
thank you, Jeremy, for your thoughtful and inspirational remarks, and for joining us in celebrating our graduates. It is an honor to have you back on campus, and we hope you'll come back again soon. It is now my great pleasure to recognize faculty members who have been granted emeritus status. This title is granted to retiring faculty members who have honorably served the university for more than 10 years. Andrea Weiderman Davis, Instructor Emerita in French and German, with 27 years of service. Dr. Ji-Won Jason Lin, Professor Emeritus of Business Administration, with 34 years of service. Carol A. Lockhart, Research and Instruction Librarian Emerita, with 32 years of service. Dr. David G. Murphy, Professor Emeritus of Philosophy and Religion, with 32 years of service. Dr. John Knightsky, Professor Emeritus of Computer Science, with 33 years of service. And Dr. Lloyd Pfluger, Professor Emeritus of Philosophy and Religion, with 27 years of service. Our faculty honorees have 185 years of combined service and have touched and enriched the lives of thousands of students. On behalf of the Truman State University community, I extend congratulations and appreciation for their dedication and commitment and for all they have contributed to our institution. It is now my great honor to introduce Rachel Jacobs. Rachel was selected by the Truman State University Student Government as student speaker and will earn a Bachelor of Science in Exercise Science in today's ceremony. Please join me in welcoming Rachel to the podium.
Jim Rohn, an American entrepreneur, once said, "Learn to be thankful for what you already have while you pursue all that you want." Sometimes it is hard to be thankful, especially at this point in time with what we have in life. For example, I'm a first-generation college student, which means neither of my parents have a 4-year degree, and have been a commuter living with my parents for all my years of college. When I tell people this, they usually respond with a level of shock and a comment about not knowing how I can stand it, and boy, is it hard. I live in La Plata, which you most likely know from either your trips to the train station, or if you've had the pleasure of having Dr. Haggerty in Constitutional Government in person, he'll tell you that we didn't have any full-time police officers. But the only murder we've ever had was a goldfish at City Hall during a break-in that I remember. My daily trips are about 40 minutes round trip, but seem much longer when I wake up late and absolutely cannot find a parking spot anywhere on campus. Not this semester though, we're good. Especially Pershing. I absolutely did not want to be a commuter student, but I knew I needed to save the money. However, I secretly hoped Truman would deny my first-year housing exemption, so I would have to live on campus, which they didn't. I have become grateful for the experience of living at home for many reasons. I've learned to prepare ahead of time to be on campus all day, sharpened my time management skills to an extent, and made amazing friends through the commuter group during Truman Week freshman year. My mom has also been a huge help to me. I went through a phase freshman year where I kept locking my keys in my car, and she would drive all the way up here, and one time she bought my first muffin at my pre-PTOT muffin fundraiser. And she also always cooks me healthy meals when she knows I'm stressed, which is so nice. However, if you asked me how I felt about living with my dad during college, the first thing I would think of would not be grateful. He has a habit of speaking so loud at the worst times, and he likes to sing Christmas songs in February while he does the dishes, which is just wrong, only after Thanksgiving. You can imagine how well this goes when I'm trying to read a boring textbook or do an online timed quiz. This pandemic has highlighted to me the importance of telling people that you love them and how they have changed your life. My dad started attending community college when I was in 3rd grade. This meant he did not have as much time to spend with me as he used to. He missed my soccer games, couldn't attend many school functions, and was always really stressed. He also attended college during the recession, and money was extremely tight, especially with high gas prices, which thankfully I don't have now, and my dad commuting to both work and school in different locations from home. It took him 4 years to complete a 2-year degree while working full-time to provide for me and my mom. I was so proud of him at his college graduation, and I suffered through several terribly boring speeches, all of which somehow included Charlie Sheen and whatever was going on at that time, which I hope mine is nothing like that. I'm not going to talk about him, to support him. After my dad graduated, he was unable to find another job due to age discrimination and people not seeing his business degree from a community college in the same light as a 4-year degree. His grades had also suffered from working full-time. I had watched my dad work hard to learn new methods of math and understand how to relate to college students, especially when working on business assignments directed towards 18 to 22-year-olds. I'm ashamed to admit that for many years I resented him for not being able to find a better job and for using money that could have been used for my college education. I vowed that I would be nothing like him, and I would work twice as hard as I previously did at my schoolwork. I have learned that most people and experiences in this world aren't fully black and white. They are full of complexities. I'm grateful for my dad because he taught me that hard work doesn't always pay off, but that doesn't mean you give up on life or don't try. I'm grateful for the scholarship provided by his workplace that made a big difference in me being able to afford to come to college. I am grateful for a person who showed me learning should not stop at any age and that it is okay to invest in yourself. I've worked hard to complete my degree in 3.5 years, shorter than the time he spent on an associate's degree. I now realize that my dad's experience did not end up filling me permanently with resentment, but instead with motivation and the ability to ask for help to reach my goals. I love him, and I don't think I would be able to tell him all of this if he had been here today. I hope that each and every one of you can think of someone in your life who may not be the first person you attribute to your successes. It is easy to think of experiences and people who always make us feel good or have been seemingly perfect. But I think the main thing this year has taught us is that struggling with obstacles and barriers is something that only makes people stronger and more deserving of what they have worked for. I hope that we can look back and see how lucky we are to be able to graduate from a school like Truman and how many people and experiences have brought us here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Those were outstanding remarks, and your willingness to play a part in today's celebration is really appreciated. Thank you. It is now my privilege to recognize students who are graduating with university honors. A listing of these students is included in the commencement program. Those students receiving a baccalaureate degree with a grade point average of 3.50 to 3.74 on a 4.0 scale have earned the honor of graduating cum laude. They are wearing a bronze medallion on a white ribbon. Would these students please stand and be recognized? Those students receiving a baccalaureate degree with a grade point average of 3.75 to 3.89 have earned the honor of graduating magna cum laude. They are wearing a silver medallion on a purple ribbon. Would these students please stand and be recognized? Those students receiving a baccalaureate degree with a grade point average of 3.90 to 4.0 have earned the honor of graduating summa cum laude. They are wearing a gold medallion on a purple and white ribbon. Would these students please stand and be recognized? Will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science please rise? President Thomas, the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science have successfully completed the requirements for their degrees. Upon recommendation of the faculties of the appropriate schools of this university and upon approval of the Faculty Senate, I have the pleasure of presenting them to you for the conferring of the degrees. And I am absolutely thrilled and honored to say, by the authority vested in me by the Board of Governors of Truman State University, I confer upon each of you your Bachelor of Science degree with all the rights and honors appertaining thereto. Congratulations! Please be seated. Each graduate will now be recognized individually. Names will be read by Dr. Jay Self, Professor of Communication. Would the Bachelor of Science candidates please come forward?
Sydney Slauson. Mallory Anna Reed. Grace Maddox. Gavin Pedig. Zachary Irvin. Connor Harms. Natalie Valentine. Brandon Lane Barr. Cooper Giles. Garrett Olson. Lucas King. Hayden Holt. Robert Gerald Masick. Emma Zahner. Madeline Campbell. Benjamin Williams. Dallas Burnister. Matthew Tokars. Austin DeVecchi. Peyton Ness. Alyssa Cluck. Colin Griffin. Tori Isabel Wisely. Kyle Miller. Brandon Ingley. Jacob Heiser. John Paul Myers. Blake Oliver. Caleb Bremer. Amanda Michelle Kapp. Satira Kara Nicholas. Madison Thomason. Nathan Weeks. Ryan Thompson. Brianna Patterson. Emily Massman. Alexander Gustafson. Brian Walker. Zoe Moore. Timothy Cobb. Michaela Eason. Mackenzie Meyer. Asim Gautam. Milan Pandey. Margaret King. Shelby Anderson. Emma Berthold. Nicholas Dodson. Brianna Grotz. Brianna Dean. Keegan Good. Abby Nicole Moore. Samantha Maxine Grace Allwood. Rose Marie Schmidt. Adelaide Nanny. Michaela Lewis. Kylie Ostermeyer. Catherine Turner. Lillian Hollywood. Alexa Hernandez. Danica Dawn Aker. Skylar Bouchel. Allison Kufta. Mason Wilcox. Allie Emmendorfer. Megan McCart. Kaya Underwood. Emily Garth. Allison Marbury. Elaine Miller. Todd Mitchell, Jr. Jack Schrimpf. Jacob Gray. Madeline G. Wright. Cleve Opio. Shreya Rupaketi. Hee Young Gong. Teen Cheon Chen. Mac Valentine. Kayla Michelle Kinzel. Grace Woodland. Trina Joy Karinja. Dietrich Venverla. Andrew Pelzal. Noah Retcher. Lynn Tran. Michelle Fung. Allison Lee Hellebush. Alyssa Sophia Zeglin. And lastly, our student speaker, Rachel Jacobs.
Right, let's hear it for the Truman State University class of 2020. Okay, so graduates, there's still one more thing you need to do. So class of 2020, please rise. To signify your accomplishments and your change in status from students to graduates, please move your tassel from the right side of your cap to the left, placing it over your heart. As you embark on this next exciting phase of your journey, know that we will always hold you close to our hearts. Congratulations. Graduates, you may please be seated. Before we conclude our ceremony, it is important to recognize the very special people who helped make this day possible. The faculty and staff of this university have provided teaching, advice, and guidance to you during your time here. They have helped you achieve more than you ever thought possible, and they are the springboards from which you will accomplish great things in your future. If you haven't already done so, I encourage you to let those very special faculty and staff members know that they have made a big difference in your life and that they have had an enormous impact on you. No ceremony is complete without great music to enhance the celebration. Please join me in expressing our appreciation to Jack McFarling, vocal soloist, and the Truman State University Brass Quintet under the direction of Dr. Eric Dixon, Assistant Professor of Music, who graciously agreed to record the music for today's ceremony. Finally, there's a group who walked every step of your degree journey with you. They supported you during the low moments, and they celebrated the high moments with you. They have been there unconditionally for you, and I know they mean the world to you. Graduates, please stand and show your parents, grandparents, siblings, other faculty members, friends, and loved ones who are celebrating with you from afar just how much you love and appreciate them. I know how much they miss being with you here today, and so we can feel their love coming right across the internet. Class of 2020, we are bursting with Bulldog pride and cannot wait to see what great things you will accomplish. As a Truman graduate, you have everything you need to live a personally and professionally meaningful and successful life. Do not forget what you learned here, that critical thought, daring imagination, and empathic understanding of human experience at home and around the world can solve problems and make the world a better place. As we have very clearly learned over the past 9 months, you cannot always control what happens to you. However, you can control how you respond. Don't let circumstances or other people define you. The world needs you to garner your strength and your unique skills and talents and step up and make a real difference. So my wish for you, our new graduates, is a simple one. It comes from a song called I Hope You Dance that came out in 2000 when most of you were just toddlers. While the song may be old, the sentiment is very relevant to today. And I quote, I hope you never fear those mountains in the distance. Never settle for the path of least resistance. Living might mean taking chances, but they're worth taking. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. No matter how stressful or uncertain these times may be, you are too important and valuable to sit it out. So dance your unique dance and go confidently into this next exciting phase of your life. Continue to make us, and more importantly, yourself proud. I now ask that everyone please stand for Singing of America the Beautiful, sung by Jack McFarling, and please remain standing for the processional.
Purple mountain man.
Congratulations again. Amazing and impressive and inspiring Truman State University class of 2020. We are cheering you on. You did it. Go celebrate safely.